You say you want better, but you can't even make a promise to yourself and keep it. Make that make sense. I want to talk about what showing up for yourself actually means, what loving yourself actually means, because it's not about the hot fats and the skincare and the herbal teas and the affirmations, although that could be a part of it. But let's talk about the real, like the realistic, unsexy stuff that nobody likes to talk about. It's about accountability, it's about self-respect, and it's about doing what you said you were gonna do, especially when no one's watching, especially when no one is monitoring you. That is showing up for yourself. That is you having trust with yourself when you keep your own promises. There's a couple of reasons as to why you're not showing up for yourself, okay? And the first one that I kind of find very contradicting, but there's a fear of failure or a fear of success. Yes, a fear of success. That's an actual thing. And I want to explain this. We run subconsciously most of the time, like 95%, I think. That's like our subconscious mind. And so when you're used to living a certain type of lifestyle, when you're used to eating fried food all the time, or you get Mickey D's like 4 times a week, or you don't go to the gym and you just lay around in bed all day, you have a specific routine. You have a specific belief system set in your subconscious that this is what you do. When you try to counteract this, when you actually physically, consciously try to be like, nope, I'm not eating fried food anymore. Nope, I'm not going to go to Mickey D's 4 times a week anymore. I'm not going to go there at all. Or I'm going to start to go to the gym 3 times a week because I spend too much time sitting on my ass. When you consciously try to counteract what your subconscious mind is used to, what your brain is going to start to do is it's going to start to drag you down. This is like an actual thing that I learned while I was in therapy, because I actually tried to do good things for myself. I tried to do better. And what my brain did is it dragged me down and it said, no, but this is not who you are. This is not who we are. So let's not do this. Like, why are you waking up earlier in the morning? Why are you going to the gym consistently now? That's not who you are. That's not what you do. The hardest thing to do in this situation is just keep counteracting your subconscious. And the thing is, you guys, when you do this for long enough, your neural pathways start to die out. It's like a whole scientific bullshit game that happens, okay? But your neural pathways, the old ones, start to die out of how you used to do things, and now you become this new person. But that process of just counteracting yourself, it's a weird battle that you have with yourself, and it's just so strange. It was such a strange experience, but this is a real thing, a fear of success. To be a successful person, or to be the person of your dreams, because we all desire to be a certain version of ourselves. And when you think about that version of yourself has different habits, probably looks very different, talks very differently, has a different group of friends. And so when you decide that you want to actually start to become that version, your subconscious mind is going to try to do everything to stop you from becoming that person, but you have to keep persisting through that. On the flip side, we have that fear of failure, and this goes into like overthinking. I've done this so much where I like overthink everything before I start something, and then I just never do it because I talk myself out of doing anything, because I find a million things as to why something wouldn't work, and I just tell myself all those things, and then I never start anything. You're never going to get anywhere in life, and you're never going to achieve anything if this is the way that you function, if this is the way that you keep talking to yourself. If you actually listen to all those thoughts, all those negative thoughts, you're never going to get anything done. You're never going to start anything. You're never going to achieve anything. Also, perfectionism and procrastination go into this, okay? I used to think like, okay, like if I start this thing, I have to be perfect at it. How fucking ridiculous. Like, no one's ever fucking perfect at anything that they start at first. Like, you have to actually start and build momentum and build experience, gain experience, and then you will actually be good at something. No one's like good at stuff off the get-go like that. I used to have this mindset where I was like, oh, I'm starting this new thing that I've never done before. I have to be perfect at it. Especially when you're surrounded by people who are actually good at what you want to be good at. Then you start to compare yourself. Then you're like, oh, well, this person's so good at it and I'm not. And then you just bring yourself down. And then this goes into self-worth, which is the next point of this. Okay, you start to tell yourself, oh, well, I'm not pretty enough. I wasn't born into a rich family. Or, oh, well, I'll never be as physically fit as this person. Oh, well, you know, I just don't have the work ethic of this person. The comparison game is the killer. I swear to God, it is the worst thing ever when you start to compare yourself to other people, but never compare yourself to people's outsides. Everybody struggles. The prettiest person in the world, the most fit person in the world, the person that has 10 men, Ferraris, they struggle. Everybody struggles with something, but nobody shows it. Now, there are some signs that you could look out for to know whether you're ghosting yourself or not, but the very first one is you break your own promises that you make to yourself. So the easiest example, the most basic example is like going to the gym. If you promise yourself that you're going to start going to the gym, go to the fucking gym, and it doesn't need to be every single day, okay? This is something that I've personally dealt with, but like being like an all or nothing type of gal, I'm like, okay, well, if I go to the gym, I have to go every day. But when you're just starting on something, when you're trying to build habits, that's not very sustainable. It's not sustainable to be like an all or nothing type of person, because that will lead to burnout. That will lead to you quitting because you're just doing too much. So even if you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym, go once a week. Go for 20 minutes. Start there. Start with that, because that way you're not breaking that promise to yourself. You made a promise to yourself and you're actually following through on what you said you were going to do. Next one is that you wait on permission to act on your goals. Okay, you wait for permission from your parents, for validation. You wait for your friends to tell you that you should do this. You wait until you're like, oh, well, you know, like not right now. Like maybe like when I lose a couple pounds and then I'll do that. Or, oh, like maybe when I move to a different state, then I'll do that. Like, start now. Like, what are you doing? Why are you waiting until you're like, oh, I'm gonna wait till I'm 35 to do X? No, like, you could do it now. A lot of people tell themselves like, oh, well, you know, I'm not in the right environment to be doing this, or oh, I don't have a passion, I don't have a start. In order to have a passion, in order to have a purpose, you need to actually experiment with it. You have to start somewhere. You have to do something. The next sign that you're ghosting yourself is when you treat other people better than you treat yourself, or you give advice to friends that you should take. I am actually the worst at this. I've done this for a really long time, my entire life. I give out great advice, but then I can't take my own advice. And everybody always told me, Sofa, you should just take your own advice. Like, this could apply to you too. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I'm telling you about it. I want you to succeed. Honestly, I think it's really easy for us to like point fingers at other people and like observe other people, rather than like to point that finger back at ourselves and be like, okay, well, what are we doing right now? What are you doing right now? Focus on you. Start to take your own advice and treat yourself like you would treat your friends. You would want your friend to succeed. You would want your friend to start showing up for yourself. You wouldn't want your friend to be like crying over someone ghosting her, right? Like, you wouldn't want that. Okay, now that we went through all of that, let's talk about ways to actually start showing up for yourself. The very first one is to make a promise to yourself, like a small one, like, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to make my bed. Make that promise and keep that promise. Like, actually wake up in the morning and actually make your bed. Do it. Just that one small thing. It doesn't seem like it makes a large difference, but it does, because when you are able to prove to yourself that you are able to keep your own word and do what you said you were going to do, oh my God, your confidence is going to go through the roof. I swear to God, you're going to feel like you're at the top of the world. At one point, you're going to be like, oh my God, like, I'm so great. I'm so confident. I'm able to do this. I'm able to tell myself that I'm going to do that. And I do it every single time. I never lie to myself. The next one is to think about what your future self would want. So that perfect version of you that you have in your head, that version of you that you want to get to, that version, what would that version want? Make one decision that supports that future self that you have in your mind. One decision. Your future self is fit. Your future self has a habit of going to the gym a couple times a week and looking a certain way. So make a decision that would actually support that vision. Again, these don't have to be like giant, huge leaps, but even the small things. Like, for example, I have a problem with doing skincare in the morning. Like, I have such a huge problem with like using cleanser, using moisturizer, and it's only in the morning. At nighttime, I'm really like strict about it. Every single night I do skincare, but in the morning I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. But when I wrote a list of what my successful self is like, my successful self does skincare in the morning and at night. So I started to implement doing skincare in the morning. That is one step closer to me actually becoming like my future self and showing up for myself. This next point is really important when we're talking about a topic like this, because this is extremely overwhelming, all this stuff at once. And in order to not fail and not burn out super fast and do this for like a week and then quit, is to actually be honest with yourself. And what I mean by that is by thinking about the sacrifices that you're not willing to make. So for example, I need 8 hours of of sleep at least, okay? That is non-negotiable. I need my sleep. If I sleep less than that, I'm going to be so out of it. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be yawning. I'm going to be like not fully awake. I've tried to convince myself like, no, I can run on 5 hours of sleep. But no, like to me, that is a non-negotiable. Now for some people, they can get less sleep and they function just fine. But everybody has their non-negotiables, and you just have to be honest with yourself about what your non-negotiables are, what sacrifices you're not willing to make. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then you have to be really honest with yourself, like, okay, if that's a sacrifice that I'm not willing to make, am I going to get to that person that I want to become? Is that still me showing up for myself and who I want to be? You just have to be really honest with yourself about those things. Next one is setting boundaries. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If you don't want to hang out with specific people, don't do it. Don't go against yourself, because the minute you go against yourself, the minute that you disregard yourself and abandon yourself, that is where all the trust breaks and you are no longer showing up for yourself. Don't do things that don't make you feel good. In order to build the self-trust, you just have to keep doing these things. You have to keep making these small promises to yourself and achieving them. It's all about repetition. Also being proud of your follow-throughs versus you being perfect at something, because definitely I've been there. I'm like, yeah, well, I did that thing, but I didn't do it perfectly, so it doesn't count. It's like the fact that I even did something for myself, the fact that I even tried to show up for myself, the fact that I even attempted something is already such a big deal that I should be very proud of, because the more I keep doing that, the more successful I'm going to become, the better I'm going to become. And then we have that all or nothing thinking where it's like, I have to do this and I have to do it every single day and I have to go to the gym for 5 hours every single day. Otherwise, I'm not achieving my goals. But then you're going to do that for like 2 days and then you're going to stop because that's like not realistic. I used to do that with meditating. I was like, I have to meditate for an hour every single day, which is super unrealistic because I fucking hate meditating. And I tried to convince myself to do it for an hour every single day, and that's just not realistic. That was my all or nothing thinking kicking in, where it's like, well, I want to be good at meditating. I want to meditate, so I have to meditate every single day for an hour, but that's not true. You can start small and eventually build up, or if you want to start small and keep it small, keep it small. At least you're keeping that promise with yourself. At least like you're doing something and you're putting in some sort of effort. You're meditating a little bit. You're going to the gym for a little bit. You're not working out for an hour, but you're working out for 20 minutes. And those small actions that you take, those 1% actions, are what will get you to the bigger goal at the end of the day. Now, at one point, all of this may seem really pointless because honestly, this is a really lonely process. Showing up for yourself, taking care of yourself, really showing true love to yourself is a very lonely process because nobody claps for you. Nobody rewards you for this. No one's like, oh my God, good job. Like, it's a very lonely journey. You're on it with yourself, by yourself. And it can feel a little like, okay, well, like, why am I even doing any of this if nobody even really cares, or no one's pointing this out? Nobody's like complimenting me, especially when it's like invisible progress, when you are actively working on something in your life, whatever it may be, and there's still no significant progress, but you're making small steps and nobody's able to notice, nobody's able to see it. That kind of sucks because we do all look for validation at the end of the day. We still want it. We still want other people to be like, oh my God, like, wow, you look great, or oh wow, like you look more fit, or wow, you did that thing, you made that video, oh my God, like, yeah, you wrote that book, oh wow. We all want that, but behind the scenes it's quite lonely, and there's going to be times where you plateau and you feel like you're doing all this work and it's not working out for you. But the point is to keep going even when you plateau. That's actually the most important time to keep going, because you've been doing so good, you plateaued, now you got to change something up and keep going. Usually when we plateau, that's what it's about. There's something that needs to change. Something that we're doing is just not working, so we need to change something up in order to keep going. All the work that you do still counts, even if nobody claps for you, even if nobody validates you, because sometimes it's just you, your goals, and your hot pockets that you microwaved at 2 a.m. like that. Sometimes that's just how life is. To end this video, I want to tell you guys that you're worth the effort. You are worth it for you to put effort into yourself. Future you is going to be so proud of you, and you are going to be so proud of yourself when you actually start to hit those small goals that you're inevitably going to hit because you're actually showing up for yourself. You're no longer abandoning yourself. You're no longer sacrificing yourself for other people in order to please other people and make them happy. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your future. And one thing that I want to remind you guys of is that you literally only have one life. So why not make it great? Why not make it the life that you actually want to live? The life that you are happy about having, versus you like avoiding all your problems like a pro and binge watching Netflix and YouTube, which is something that I'm totally guilty of. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.